So let me get on with it. The lawsuits that we are filing really are not about partisanship. They're about the rule of law. We're going to hear from our colleagues tonight, and they're going to hear from you. The fact of the matter is that attacks on our Constitution and our right to represent the government are not acceptable. We're standing up for the right of the United States Congress to make decisions about appropriations, not somebody who just signs a piece of paper and says we're freezing all of your money. They cannot tear down institutions like the Department of Education, which is designed to help educate our families and our children. And let me say, we have men and women of the press here today. We're glad they're here. And it's simply not acceptable for the president to sue ABC and make them pay $15 million. More register because they issued a poll that he didn't like to investigate National Public Radio and Public Broadcasting Service, PBS, and to get up at the Department of Justice speech and say that CNN and MSNBC are illegal. If the freedom of the press is not for the press, it's for you, your right to know. And then he turns around and attacks a law firm, several of them. You have a right to representation. And it is not just one, but more Republican for you to attack law firm like Perkins Stewie just because they represented Hillary Clinton or whoever else they want to represent. And I have to the list, Burlington and Covington and Burlington and Paul Lyons and other law firms. And why he's attacking these law firms, the representatives, people like the council, he, of course, let 1,500 criminals who attack the Capitol. He's also attacking our universities, institutions of learning to build and grow knowledge. J.D. Vance, who I'll make a quote. He says, we have to honestly and aggressively attack the universities in this country. And then he says, the professors are the ignorant. What's it mean when they attack the university and try to shut down the Department of Education? This is the same president who said, I love the uneducated. Remember that? He wants to keep people without not being able to understand what he's doing. And they launched an investigation into 60 universities, including the University of Minnesota, to cut down Columbia and to shut down the Department of Education. So I just want to say, DEI is not illegal at all. In fact, it's the opposite of discrimination. And we have to stand up and say that, yes, we have a big circle of compassion for all of America's people. And we want to make sure they are all welcome and included, one and all. No exceptions. Liberty and justice for? Liberty and justice for? That's right. That's what we're fighting for. So, friends, let me just say that it is an honor that you are here. We're grateful for your attention. The people in the overflow room, bless you guys. You are in this room with us, in our spirit. And we want to acknowledge you and thank you for coming. And so now, friends, I want to call to the podium my friend and yours. Give her a big hand one more time because she's just that awesome. Chris Mays from Arizona.
Good evening, Minnesota! Awesome! Wonderful! I can say we got thought we had a big crowd in Arizona, but you beat us. You beat us by a long shot. We said it's a big turnout, but this is amazing. I'm so grateful to be able to be here with my colleagues and with your amazing Attorney General. As he said, we have been holding these community impact hearings across our states, across the country. This is the second of what will be many, because your stories are critical to helping us understand the magnitude of the effects of Trump, Musk actions, unconstitutional actions that are being felt throughout our communities. And if this event is anything like the impact hearing that we held a couple of weeks ago in Phoenix, the stakes for so many people in this room are deeply, deeply personal. This isn't just a policy debate. It's about your livelihoods, your families, and our nation's future. As you know, over the past several weeks, our offices, along with some of the AGs who couldn't be here with us tonight, I promise you they would love to have been. And there are 23 of us working together. 23 AGs standing up for this country, standing up for democracy, and standing up for the country. We will not stop until the job is done. You know, and just to be clear, we do not believe that we are doing this because we don't believe in reform or efficiency. But reform must be done lawfully through the constitutional processes that exist for that purpose. It shouldn't involve the stranger than fiction antics that make us feel like we are living in a never-ending reality show. Take Elon Musk with his fake chainsaw, or constant fear-mongering that drives hate and division. The lawsuits that we have filed are about ensuring that our Constitution isn't trampled, that people are protected, and our laws are followed. Positive change does not happen through reckless, unilateral actions by a president and an unelected billionaire that harm families and farmers and nonprofits. It doesn't happen through attacks on public education and on things that make it more difficult for our veterans and seniors to receive the care and benefits that they rightly deserve. Positive change doesn't destroy the livelihoods of public servants with cruelty and chaos. Chaos is not efficient, slashing jobs, gutting essential services, and leaving communities scrambling to pick up the pieces is not efficiency, it is destruction, full stop. So let me finish by saying, and I'm going to hand it off, the impacts already being felt across our states is astounding and heartbreaking. We are here to listen to your stories tonight, but please know that we will continue to fight for you because it matters. We will continue to stand strong, holding the line with the law in the courts, working together with all hands on deck and speaking truth to power. So thank you so much. And now I get to introduce the amazing AG of Illinois, Kwame Raoul.
Good evening, Minnesota. I know you all love you some Keith Ellison. We do too. one of the things we'll observe tonight about I and my colleagues is we all love each other because we got to know each other in the fight. There's one thing that I want to say to you all, our fight started way before just a couple of months ago. We've been working together for years, battling for our democracy and for our republic. But the last two and a half months has been a fight. I'm a Democrat, but I'm fighting for Republicans. I'm fighting for independents. I'm fighting for Green Party. And Texas, I'm fighting for the Great Too Damn High Party too. This is a fight for our republic. Let me say it personal before I just sit down. I've got a daughter in law school right now. She's approaching the end of her second year. So a year from now, I look forward to going to graduation. More so than that, after she takes the bar, I look forward to putting her right hand up and swearing to uphold the Constitution. And what each and every one of us did. We put our right hands up and we swore to uphold the Constitution. And President Trump was elected and he put his right hand up. And lied. Every act has been contrary to the document we all, as Democrats, Republicans, Independents, are supposed to uphold the most. And so our fight is, I want this to be clear, our fight is not a partisan fight. Our fight is a fight for the laws of the United States of America, and more important, for the people of the United States of America. Now, we have something in our aging community called the Platkin principles. We are guided by the Platkin principles. And with that, I want to bring up the super powerful AG of the great state of New Jersey, my good friend, Matt Platkin. Good evening, Minnesota. I got to do this because you know I've done it a few times, but can you give it up one more time for Attorney General Keith Ellison? So I will just say, I may be the youngest, but he is by far the coolest Attorney General. It is so great to be with you. I got to say, this crowd is amazing. And it inspires me, and we've been doing a lot of hard work. And the fact that you're showing up in these kinds of numbers, in overflow rooms, on a weekday night, to send a message about what we stand for in this country. Because I know I joined my amazing colleagues. We said, listen, we talk about the rule of law. We've been having this conversation in this country now for several years, and sometimes it can feel a little abstract, even for me. But I don't think it felt abstract to somebody on Medicaid who called my office on a Tuesday a few weeks ago and said, are they going to accept my Medicaid card when I go to the doctor this afternoon? Or the parent who had to take their kid to Head Start not knowing if the doors were going to be locked. Or the veteran didn't know if their benefits were going to be taken away, despite that they served this country. That's what the rule of law means. Or today that we're gathering in a high school a couple hours after the president signed an executive order to unlawfully and unconstitutionally shut down the Department of Education. Yeah, you should boo. Because we're here to hear the stories that you're experiencing. Let me tell you something. I'm the Attorney General of my state, the great state of New Jersey. We don't always get those deals.
But I'm also the parent of two young kids. And I was at one of my kids' events recently, and a parent came up to me. They know what I do for a living. And they said to me that my daughter's autistic. And I got to be upfront with you. Sometimes I'm in the shower. This is 100% true. And I break down sobbing because of how hard it is. And the only peace I get is when I take my daughter to school and I know that she has aides there who are going to take good care of her. And this administration, today and for weeks now, has told parents like that and people who rely on the services that government provides that because they don't like something that they can't even define politically, they're going to break the law and they're going to punish them. They're going to punish you all. And so when we talk about the rule of law, we talk about what we're fighting for you. So I am so proud to be these amazing public servants and the others that are part of our coalition standing up for you. I'm proud to be in Minnesota, and I'm proud to stand with you. And the one thing I'll ask of you is keep showing up. Keep showing up. Because they are betting that we don't care enough, that they'll get this stuff by in the dark of the night. They do it at 8 p.m. on a Friday. I can't go out to dinner with my wife because they're going to do something unconstitutional in the middle of it. We got to keep caring. You got to keep showing up, and we, I promise you, will keep fighting for you. And now I have, you already know her, gave her a standing ovation already. I have the great privilege of welcoming my neighbor, my good friend, one of my heroes, Letitia James from the great state of New York.
So, as they say in my church, protocol has already been established. Well, I'm going to ask, is Brooklyn in the house? No. Okay. Oh, yay! I come from New York, and I've come here today because individuals cry in my arms each and every day, my beloved Brooklyn. Immigrants who are concerned about their family being separated. Individuals who are concerned about whether or not their spouses are going to come home, whether or not they're going to be deported in the absence of due process. Individuals who have lost jobs, who don't know whether or not they're going to be able to pay their mortgage or their rent. Veterans who have served our country mightily. Law enforcement officers who grants have been cut because all of us engage in drug interdiction. We all know about opioids, we know about fentanyl, and there's a new drug out there called xylazine. I see it each and every day. I see seniors, because I love my seniors, who are concerned about the privatization of Social Security. People concerned about Medicaid, relying on Medicaid. And so just like one of my heroes, Barbara Jordan, I have my faith in the Constitution is whole. It's complete. And I'm not going to sit idly by and allow this government to diminish our Constitution, to diminish our freedoms, our liberty. Not now, not ever. I come from a humble family, and I'm not afraid. Individuals have come up to me in New York and all across, they said, Tish, aren't you afraid? And the answer is, I'm more concerned about individuals who are losing all of their benefits. I'm gonna be all right, because I've got righteousness on my side. Who believe in freedom? Who believe in liberty? Who believe in the rule of law? Who believe in the Constitution? Not prepared to stand up.
Christine, no,
All right, how'd you like that? You know, friends, we're up here with you, us AGs from around the country, but there are others, some other folks who represent you who also are here fighting every single day. And I want to take a second just to acknowledge that. Is that all right? Say hello to Senator Tu Jump. Senator Rob Kuback. Where are you, Rob? There's Rob. Senator Liz Bowman of Rochester. Former Senator Jim Dabney is in the house. Yeah, Jim. I don't know what Jim is, but he's here. Former Minneapolis Mayor R.T. Brodbeck. Here's R.T. Former Senator Ken Egan is here. Ken Egan is here. And the leader of the AFL-CIO of Minnesota, none other than Bernie. Bernie is here. Where you at, Bernie? There's Bernie. Thank you, Bernie. Now, the meeting is your meeting. We're going to listen to you. We may respond to some things folks say. We may even ask you a follow-up question, but it's your meeting now. We've got some folks who called and wanted to speak in advance, so they're here. They should, if they speak from the microphone, they're speaking from the microphone. They're speaking from right here, Marco. Stay at Marco. So Marco has the mic, and we have Abdul Aziz over there. Say hi, Abdul Aziz. And they're gonna hold the microphone for you, so you don't have to worry about doing that. And then we're gonna hear stories from some other folks who may or may not have called in advance, but we want to hear from as many people as we can. And finally, we're gonna hear with folks who come here with ideas about next steps. One thing I hear from people all the time is, what do you want us to do? What can we do? We're gonna address that tonight. We got plans. So first up, Mayor Melvin Carter. Good evening. I have one question. Is St. Paul in the house? Attorney General James, Rowe, Mike and May, and Michael, Mr. Keith Ellison. I want to thank you all for your service. I want to thank you all for your fight on behalf of people all over the country who look up and wonder if anybody is fighting for them. I say all the time that Attorney General Ellison is my lawyer, and it is a blessing to really mean it. I appreciate that. My page says I'm also supposed to thank you, Attorney General Ellison, for inviting me to speak here tonight. I thought that was a great honor until I realized who all I was speaking after. Listen, I have years of experience encouraging neighbors and community members in St. Paul not to take for granted the progress that we've made over generations. And let me tell you, over the past 3 months, I have realized the extent to which I am guilty of taking for granted some of the progress that we've made over the last few generations. So much of the aspects of the things that we take for granted as part of our community life, the way we operate in community life just seems to be every day under siege. Inflation caused by tariffs, threats, turmoil, and uncertainty have changed our trips to the grocery store.
Yes.
And fundamentally change the economics of the critical infrastructure and other types of projects that we have planned right here in our community. Attacks on federal programs
have left our families, our veterans, without employment and healthcare coverage. And the hateful, shameful rhetoric we hear from Washington, D.C. every day on public safety and immigration has made us all less safe. Attorney General Ellison, one document that exemplifies the harm that that type of rhetoric imposes is the press release unbelievably sent on official White House letterhead last month that specifically named you and I at the top of a list of elected officials they absurdly accuse of wanting murderers and rapists to roam our communities. Now, let me tell you, one, not only is that not true, I need you to know that in St. Paul, we come close to about doubling the national case clearance rate for homicides. I need you to know that in St. Paul, just in the last year, we've almost tripled our case clearance rate for non-fatal shootings in our community. And I want you to know that we're proud of the national press that we get for our public safety outcomes. I want you to know that that work is more urgent today than ever before as local leaders across our country work hard to prevent a repeat of the historic homicide surge that we all suffered through during the first Trump administration. And I want you to know that if the federal administration is intent on public safety and immigration policies and actions that only target violent offenders who have an active threat on our communities, then they ought to make that clear. So that law-abiding, tax-paying, hardworking families don't listen to their rhetoric and find themselves terrified to just go to church or take their children to school. Well, let me tell you, they sent us a press release and we sent them back a lawsuit. And I was about to tell you we sent that lawsuit because we won't allow, but I realize that's the wrong lexicon because I live in I stand on the shoulders of the civil rights movement, and people who would have looked you in the eyes and said it a different way would have said, we ain't gonna let nobody tell our communities that we have to weaponize our police officers as immigration agents. We ain't gonna let nobody tell the families and businesses who send billions of their hard-working dollars as federal taxes to Washington, D.C. every day, tell us that we're gonna have our community be cut off from the benefits of the federal taxes that we pay. The Patriots at the Boston Tea Party would not allow taxation without representation, and let me tell you, neither will we. So I thank you for your work. And I want to be clear to the people who live in this community. I was at a school the other day and I asked the children, I'm the mayor, who do I work for? And the first guess was, the president? And listen, I told them that they could be excused for the error, but sometimes presidents make that mistake too. We work for you. Our job is to make sure community works for all of the people that we represent every single day. I'm honored to be here with some people who are very clear on that work, who lead with courage and discipline every single day of the week. We are committed, and I speak on behalf of a whole bunch of mayors across this country who are committed in this same way, and our ability to carry it forward is there because of the way you operate in the community, because of the way you all show up. We will keep showing up. We will keep showing out. We will keep advocating for our rights and that of our neighbors, because as we know, as I hear from our police chief all the time, we have no greater responsibility as local elected officials than to make sure that all of us, when our neighbor, our immigrant, non-immigrant, documented, undocumented neighbor smell smoke, they feel comfortable and safe calling 911. We don't do that for them. influence us, and we ain't gonna let nobody turn us around. Thank you all.
Next speaker is Reverend Alfred Babington Johnson. Okay. There's one time. Attorney General Ellison, and to the other attorneys general present and aligned in this fight to stop and reverse this season of executive overreach, I'm Reverend Alfred Babington Johnson, the convener of His Works United, the largest ecumenical gathering of African American churches in the state of Minnesota. I shared earlier today at our Elders Council that the United States of America was and is a wonderful idea. Creating a governing model based on mutually held truths that all men are created equal and are endowed by their Creator with a raft of inalienable rights, such as a life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, is one of the best ideas this world has ever known. This great idea and grand experiment are now in critical danger. In the 60 days since taking office, the Trump administration has repeatedly assaulted this foundational principle. We witnessed the erosion of the community's peace of mind and overall confidence in the stability of a society that's designed with respect for laws and justice. The casualties of this brutal attack on the values we cherish are many. Within our churches, there are families that arrive in this country as refugees or asylum seekers. Even though they have the documents confirming their legal status, they live in constant fear that their rights may be stripped away by overzealous enforcers of quote-unquote homeland security. The valuable contributions they made by sharing their skills and insights for the labor force in need are now cast aside. Another victim, insidiously, is the general acceptance and respect for the concept of law and order. I'm grateful that we have a common understanding that speed limits are beneficial and obeying traffic light conventions serves the general good. A sense of law and order is required for living together harmoniously. As our youth witness the disregard that the occupant of the Oval Office has for the legislative prerogative and judicial authority outlined in the Constitution, erodes the foundation of the lofty values and principles that enable our youth to receive and uphold respect for the constructive dynamics that allow society to function effectively. It's a slippery slope. Once again, I applaud your dedication to using your intelligence and all the strategies and resources available to you in our extraordinary Attorney General Keith Ellison to advocate for our democracy and an equitable future. Thank you for your courage. Thank you for your spirit. Stay strong. Okay. So now I'm going to start calling folks up in groups. May I have Susan Kelly, CEO of Minnesota Council of Churches. That includes Lozano Unidos, Nikki Villadiciendo of Maplewood City Council, and Kat Long.